Hello, and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast number 2197. The topic is mindset, and the title is Give Others the Margin, Not the Meat. A former client, when we were working together previously, they were overwhelmed with a new job. They had started a new relationship. And they had a lot of family and friend obligations. They had recently moved closer to family and felt obligated to spend more time with them due to the move. So they were insanely overwhelmed. I mean, you got new job, new demands, learning new skills. You have a significant other who you're going to want to spend more time with. And then also you moved closer to family and friends, which are going to want more time as well. They ended up feeling overwhelmed, and they quit the service of us, like our monthly training service. And we've joked because we've talked since, and you'll hear more in the podcast, but they essentially ghosted me. They just stopped responding. And I was like, okay, so this is, doesn't happen too often. So that was, kind of a surprise. I'm never offended by it. It's just you feel bummed because you're like, oh, the person's so overwhelmed, they just feel bad at that point. They probably feel bad, which is why they're not even kind of closing the relationship, closing out the service. So it's like, you just feel bad. So after about 6 months of them kind of disappearing, they reached out saying that they had read through the last entry that I had left in their journal. So all of my online clients have their own journal. It's private to them, just myself and them can see it. So they can enter any questions. I enter weekly reviews for nutrition, for training. Any questions they have, I'll answer those questions. It's where we do the bulk of our communication. So I wanted to share what I had written to them as the last entry in the journal, assuming that they would probably read it. They have the option all clients have an option to sign up to get an email notification whenever I make an entry to the journal, and that's actually what I do. So whenever a client writes anything in the journal, I get an email that says, so-and-so, wrote more information, or they wrote something, or they entered something into the document. So I encourage them to do that. That way they know when I'm getting responses. So I figured, okay, I'll enter something, they'll see it eventually, So this is what I entered, and this is what they saw. So I wrote hi, and then their name. I said, I hope you're doing well. I'm assuming you're quite overwhelmed with life at the moment, since we haven't chatted in a while. So I wanted to offer a little bit of advice and extend an open invitation for the future. The advice was to take a breath and consider their priorities. And I said, most importantly, the word your. So this is what I wrote, is take a breath, consider your priorities. Most importantly, the word your. You are balancing a lot at the moment, and you're wanting to create your ideal life, a life you truly feel excited and happy with every single day. And that's 100% possible, but it's also 100% challenging. What can help is to know what matters most and give your most to those things. When we look at nutrition, what matters most is calories and protein. Nothing else really matters, so don't worry about anything else. Aesthetics, given your goals, your current fitness levels, I would suggest lifting weights 3 times a week. This could be at home or at the gym. I would aim for 20 minutes minimum, but you can certainly do more. Sleep. Try to be consistent with when you go to bed, even if you have to vary when you wake up. Personal relationship. The relationship you have with yourself. Speak kindly to yourself. Praise your successes. Analyze and forgive your mistakes. Each day, try whatever your best is for that day, and take each day on its own. Don't expect 100% if you don't have 100% to give that day. Work and projects. Attend to what you need in these areas to make the progress you want. Rank others and give them the margin, not the meat. List everyone in your life. Put them in order, no ties. Give the best you have to each relationship in accordance with its placing. What I mean by give them the margin, not the meat, is you only give to others once you've given fully to yourself. You want to attend to your nutrition, your sleep, your training, your mental health first. Then, if there's any space left, you can give within that space to others. What will likely overwhelm you in life is thinking that everything is equal, that everything is equally important. You cannot give 100% to multiple things. You only have the capacity to give 100% to all things. Your 100% needs to be allocated, which means that some things will get whatever you have left, and some things, unfortunately but necessarily, will get next to nothing. What do you want your life to look like in 5 years? In 10 years? What you do today will create that vision. Stay true to your vision. Prioritize yourself. Give others the margin, not the meat, and give yourself grace for having to make changes that others may not agree with. Ultimately, this is your life. Live it with your best guess as to how you will enjoy it the most. If you need anything at any time, please reach out. So that's what I wrote. That was the last journal entry, and I hope she was going to read it, but that is the message that I shared. And she said that she actually did reread it. She had the email starred in her email account for 6 months saying that I had wrote an entry, but she was afraid to look at it because she thought, I'd be depressed or bummed, or I'd be kind of like wondering where she was. She didn't want to face the email as a sense of feeling that she had failed in that service, like in our relationship of working together with each other. So I'm happy that she finally did actually open the email and read it. And she said that she started to put the words into actions, and now she's living in a healthier and happier mental space. And we started working together again, which is super exciting, and I'm very, very happy about that. So the same advice can help you if you're struggling with the same issue. The same issue of feeling overwhelmed, of unable to meet demands of everything and everyone, and likely feeling that each day that the person you're letting down the most is you. So often in life, we spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, efforts, and emotional health worrying how others feel. And that leads to us feeling depressed and sad, and we kind of take the hit, right? We'd rather disappoint ourselves than everyone else. And unfortunately, that's backwards. So what I'd recommend is, if you are struggling with this feeling, is to take a breath and consider your priorities. Prioritize nutrition, exercise, sleep, and mental health. Prioritize your work and projects. And then, once all of those are attended to, you then can give to others with whatever is left, even if what's left isn't much. Remember, what do you want your life to look like in 5 years? In 10 years? Have you set that down? Have you sat down and planned that out, thought that out? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? You likely have some idea of what you want to accomplish and where you want to be and what you want your life to look like. But what we need to recognize is that what my life is in 5 years is built today, not in 5 years from today or next week or next month or, once I get through this rough patch, I'll do X, Y, Z. It's what we do today that fulfills that vision. It is not selfish to take care of yourself first. It's the only way that you'll create a healthy and happy life and a life that you'll truly enjoy. When you invest into others, it's with the intent to help them have a healthy and happy life. Don't you deserve the same? And when you do take care of yourself, then when you do give to others, although it may be less, it'll be a healthier and happier you. What you'll be giving to them will be the best of you. And that will make the best contribution. Something I hope to get across that I hope we all can remember, and I've had to remind myself of, is life is meant to be a win-win between ourselves and our loved ones. But so often we focus so much on others that we end up being the loser. It's not a win-win anymore. We're giving too much of ourselves that we lose our health, our goals, our dreams, trying to help others achieve theirs. Life is meant to be a win-win. We're meant to invest into our loved ones as much as they're meant to invest into us and build everybody up as a community, right? Everybody's supposed to grow together, not grow at the sacrifice of one. So make sure you're not that one. It is not selfish to take care of yourself first. So attend to your nutrition. It's as easy as calories and protein. Just make sure you eat a certain range of calories. If you want to learn what that is, we do have a podcast that can help you set up a nutrition diet for like fat loss and muscle growth. Podcast 2136 is a podcast titled Setting Up a Calorie Deficit Diet for Fat Loss. So if you're wanting to lose fat or stay lean, that would be a good podcast to listen to, and you can calculate exactly for you how many calories and grams of protein you should have. If you're wanting to build muscle and build strength, then podcast 2140 is titled Setting Up a Calorie Surplus Diet for Muscle Growth. So that one you can also stay lean, but it'll help you kind of promote additional weight gain through muscle tissue. So podcast 2136 and podcast 2140 would teach you what you need for nutrition. And remember, it's only calories and protein. It doesn't really matter what you eat. You don't need a certain amount of carbs every day, a certain amount of fat every day. You don't need to totally avoid carbs or totally avoid fat. Literally, if you keep your calories within a certain range and you have sufficient amount of protein, you're going to reach your goals. For exercise, it can be as simple as like movement. Maybe every day you aim for a certain step count, 3,000, 5,000, 7,000 steps. But weight training carries more weight. So I would make room for weight training before I would make room for excessive step count. So if your normal daily step count is, say, 3,000 to 5,000, try to stay within that range even on low activity days. But if you have margin above that, go lift weights. Don't try to get 10,000 steps a day instead of weight training. Weight training will have a better impact on your overall health and aesthetics than just an extra couple thousand steps will. So maintain a decent daily activity, like whatever your normal, like maybe a high day. So maybe on Monday you have 3,000 steps, Tuesdays 2,500, Wednesdays 5,000, Thursdays maybe 4,000. So it's always somewhere between 3,000 to 5,000. Maybe try to get to 4,000 to 5,000 every day or 5,000 every day. But don't try to double it. Don't try to go crazy with extra step count. Step count is a false positive in the sense that you're going to get so much more benefit from taking 20 to 30 minutes to lift weights than you would from 20 to 30 minutes of walking. So focus on weight training. If you currently don't do that at all, 1 time a week is better than 0, right? If you do it maybe once, then 2 times, because 2 times is better than 1. I would say try to get up to 3 to 4 times a week of lifting weights for about 20 minutes per time. Maybe you can do a little bit longer, maybe you can't, maybe 20 minutes is the minimum you can get in, that's fine. But 3 times a week, lifting weights for 20 minutes is great. That's a great base to build from. For sleep, it is extremely helpful to go to bed at the same time every day. Even if you change when you wake up, the greater negative impact is changing when you go to bed. When you get sleepy, go to sleep. So when you get tired, go to sleep. Try to set a normal time. So if you go to bed at 10 o'clock every night, try to lay in bed at 10 every night. Your body will eventually get used to it. You'll eventually fall asleep. Even if one day, maybe you normally wake up at 6, but one day you have to get up at 4 to get some stuff done, that's fine. Try to keep that same 10 o'clock bedtime. And then personal relationship, the relationship you have with yourself. Always, always, always speak kindly to yourself. Treat yourself like the best, right? You want to be kind to yourself, be nice to yourself, be motivating to yourself. Praise yourself for your successes. Analyze and forgive your mistakes. You should always be kind of aiming to do things a little better, to learn from our mistakes. We do want to improve over time. So you can't say, I screwed that up, but it's okay that I screwed up, and then just keep repeating the same screw-ups, right? You got to make some improvements. That's why we want to analyze our mistakes. But then you do have to also forgive them. Each day, try your best for whatever that day has. And then each day, move on to the next day. So analyze how that day was, learn what you need, and then mentally move on. If you focus on these things first, nutrition, exercise, sleep, and personal relationship, the quality of your life will improve. These are the things that we often give up when we over-focus on others, and the quality of our life degrades, it goes down. To maintain a great base, a great quality of life, a great mental space, if you want to be happy between your ears, nutrition, exercise, sleep, and personal relationship. So again, life is meant to be a win-win between ourselves and our loved ones. Make sure you're, in your corner as much as you are in everyone else's. If you need any help, if you need anything, reach out. My email is brutalironjim@gmail.com. If you like the podcast, please share the podcast. The more people that know about it, the more people can be helped by it. If you want to support the podcast, you can do a donation on our website. But we also have a connection with the supplement company NutriCost.com. Right now, you can use the code RobertBF40 for a 40% discount on supplements. So that's RobertBF. BF stands for Black Friday 40. So RobertBF40 at NutriCost.com. You can get 40% discount on all of your supplements, and then a 10% commission goes to us. So you can buy supplements at a discount and then, in a sense, give a donation to the podcast if you'd like to do that. Then if you like the information we share in the podcast, you can find more from us every single day on Instagram and YouTube under the name Brutal Iron Gym. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.